Hey YouTube, it's Joe's Two Car Garage, and Firebird is back from the sandblaster. I believe that the last time that I made a video that I had said that I decided that I was going to the sandblaster, so I had to pull the tank. That's the tank right there behind the car. There's the exhaust. I had to pull the tank, the fuel cell. Wow. That tank, the exhaust system, drop the axle, and then reinstall the axle with as few parts as possible. There's the shield for above the tank. And then I had to reinstall the front suspension and subframe and get it on a trailer and get it over there. And we made that happen. Also pulled the fuel lines and the one brake line for the rear out while that was going on. And because of that, I found more rust than I really bargained for. Below that bundle of wires right there, there's a tray that sits on top of that frame rail. And the sandblaster's theory was that somebody splashed brake fluid on the shock tower in this area, and it ran down, puddled underneath that, ran down and dribbled onto the frame. And that ate through all the paint and allowed the corrosion to start. And that corrosion worked its way all the way down there, followed the fuel lines and the brake lines down the frame rail and spread its nastiness down there. So he cleaned all that up and epoxy coated it for me. He also ended up doing the entire driver's side floor pan because there were little speckles all over it, and each of those speckles had a quarter to a 50-cent size piece of area of rust underneath the paint. So he went ahead and did all that. And there was other spots underneath where these shields are, where these shields go underneath the car along the frame rail. The frame rail was rusty too, so he cleaned all that up. In the back, and I haven't been under the car yet, so I really don't know exactly what he did, but what I can see, I like. He did the spring perches, the pockets on both sides. He did the axle tunnel all the way across the car. He did everything in the back here where the fuel tank goes. He did up along the frame rails on both sides. He also did where the trailing arms, there's a flange. There's two ears that come off of the unibody, and inside of that is open, and there's a void inside of there. And that was starting to corrode, and that was one of the main reasons I wanted it done. So he went ahead and got in there and sprayed that out. And this area of concern right here that I had, so this is Bondo, there is filler here. So I was correct, there was some damage to this quarter panel. And he did that just so I could get a look and see what I had to deal with there. So this is not as bad as I thought. That's worse than I thought. So, 6 of one, half dozen of another. My hatch is still at the painter. Been a month to get a hatch painted. Every day I text my connection to the guy and I get excuses, so I don't know what's going on there. So anyway, hopefully... I'm working 7 days, so hopefully this week I can get home early enough. I want to get some of this area over here on the side neatened up and get some of the debris cleaned up. And I want to move the car back over to the center of the garage and get it back in the air so I can reinstall the rear axle, fuel tank, exhaust system. Get that stuff plugged back in the way it's supposed to be. Going to modify the fuel lines. I've decided... I have to figure out, I'm keeping the vent because I'm going to try and reinstall the what do you call it, the charcoal canister vent. I'm going to try and get that to operate on this car. My Camaro has a habit of, after I fill up, smelling like fuel for a while, so I'd like to do away with that if I could. So I'm going to try and get that functional again. So what I have to do is take the return fuel line from the V6, which is one of these two these two lines here, and I'll figure out which one. But I'm going to need a section of it. And then I'm going to come back here, and I believe back here, I believe it's this one. That turned one is the vent, I'm pretty sure. So this piece and a piece of that front, I'm going to cut it here or somewhere straight and put a 5/16 flare fitting union in there. Put the Corvette fuel filter on here that has the second nipple. Adjust the fit to that. Voila. Return fuel line. Done. And then I can just put everything together, put it back under the car. And it's just that simple. The fuel filter for the Corvette, I believe it's a 96. Or it could be later. 97, 98, somewhere in that. It's late 90s. It has the regulator built into the fuel filter. So I don't have to do anything else. A lot of guys run them, and with good luck, that's the way I'm going to do it, and that should take care of my fueling problem. Unless I go way bigger horsepower than what I'm planning on, but I think for now that'll be it. So we'll get that buttoned up, get this thing back in here, get the front back off, and the back in. As soon as my hatch shows up, I can put the interior in. So that's where we're at. I did pick up my bushings. Got a set of those, and I have to get another set they were ordered and are waiting for my pickup. So there you are. You're up to date. This is what we got going on, and should be back to work on this here shortly. All right, YouTube. We'll catch you later.